Hello, and welcome to Mustang News.
Today we'll hear about grades as we get close to the end of the first 9 weeks. We'll check in with Emmanuel for the weather and hear about students and their sleep habits.
So I'm Miss McMillan. I am one of your 2 assistant principals.
What are the new grading policies at O'Henry Middle School?
So the new grading policy divides grades into 2 major categories. So major grades, summative assessments, which are 60%, and minor grades, formative assessments, which are 40%.
How do you think the new rules will affect students?
I think it's helpful for students to have grades divided this way because they have mastery of their learning objectives and have that reflected in a project grade or an exam grade. And that project grade or exam grade is one which can be redone to build mastery. So they have a chance to redo these summative grades in the event that the grade does not go as well as they had hoped.
How can students improve their grades after the grading period?
So students have until progress reports of the next grading period to improve their grades. So teachers need to finalize grades for the grading period, but after they're finalized, grades can still be changed if students redo their work by attending tutorials and making sure that their formative work is completed prior to doing their summative work. So the summative grade, it's like the peak of your learning. So it's a big project or an exam or an essay, and that's the grade that's weighted more heavily.
How can grades affect students' eligibility in sports?
So when grades are due for the grading period, if students are under a 70, then they are not eligible to participate in UIL. However, if they bring that grade up to passing by progress reports of the next grading period, I believe they regain their eligibility.
Now let's check in with Emmanuel for weather.
Good morning, O'Henry. Happy Friday. Today we'll see a high of about 94 degrees and a low of 65. As we go into the weekend, we'll have a short spike of heat to about 96 on Sunday, and then the rest of the week, rain chances will increase to about 50 to 60%. So make sure to keep an umbrella handy or a rain jacket. And me gusta clima, which means I like weather in Spanish.
Next week is homecoming. Let's hear about from our cheerleaders.
It's Spirit Week, and the theme is It's Always a Good Time. Tuesday's theme is It's Time to Get Tattooed, and during lunch we'll be passing out temporary tattoos for you to put on and show your spirit.
On Wednesday, it's time to shine bright, so feel free to wear any neon clothes or items you have.
On Thursday, it's time to show your spirit, and we all wear our PTA shirts.
And Friday, it's time to get comfy, so feel free to wear your pajamas.
And now, a story on students for their sleep.
Teenagers get an average of 6 to 7 hours of sleep in a night. Sleep research has proven teens need 8 to 10 hours of sleep. When schools start early, it's nearly impossible to sleep in and get the sleep that you need. How many hours of sleep do you get in a night?
Not a lot, like 4, 5, sometimes 3 hours of sleep.
Probably like 9 to 10 hours. I usually go to bed at around 10 to 2 a.m. So any time.
Probably around 7 hours.
Like 10?
Yeah, a lot of screen time.
Like 7 hours a day.
Probably like 4 hours.
A lot.
Screens are part of the problem. Research has shown that blue light restrains melatonin, the hormone that controls your sleep cycles. Screens not only make it hard to go to sleep, but it also makes it hard to wake up in the morning. Consider putting your phone down at least 1 hour before you go to bed. Do you sleep with your phone in your room?
No, I don't have a phone.
Yes, on my bedside table. Yes. If I have it.
Yes,
And does that affect your sleeping?
very.
Does it make it worse or better?
Worse.
This concludes Mustang News segment on sleep. Remember to put your phone down at least an hour before going to bed to get a good night's sleep. Good night, Mustangs. Let's meet some teachers that are new to O. Henry.
I was actually at Hill Country Middle School across the river in Eanes. I was a middle school technology teacher.
Before I worked at small middle school, and for the majority of my teaching career I was at Lehman High School.
I was a stay-at-home dad with my 1-year-old, so I got to see my oldest son grow from 1 to 2 years old, which was really awesome. We bonded a lot. Before that, the last job I had, I worked at a cider company out close to Dripping Springs, so I did a lot of sales and delivery of kegs and cans, things like that. Super heavy lifting, but also a lot of fun to spend all that face time with folks.
It's definitely the kids. The kids want to be here, and then of course the books. I love reading the books.
My favorite thing about Henry so far has been like how in my class how enthusiastic and creative the students are. They take some of the stuff that we learn about and they just make amazing things with it. So that's been really cool.
So wonderful. All of the teachers that I ever asked for a guiding question on what I should do in a certain situation, or if I'm asking one of our assistant principals or principal in Milan what we should be doing in certain instances, everyone seems ready to help and support. They always have a little bit extra time to talk with me about things. And so what I hear from a lot of other teachers that I found to be true is that this school really supports you. Whether you're a student or a teacher, they're there for you. And I've seen that every time I've come to someone else with a question about how to manage things.
Oh yeah, this is a really neat school. It has a lot of history. There's a lot of different types of people here, and I feel like we can all learn a lot from each other.
I don't know yet. I was here last year, but since it was such a weird year, I didn't get a good feel for the school. So honestly, I can't answer that question yet. Give me about 6 months. Come back and ask me again.
Now, teachers don't just sit behind their desk and talk to you for an hour and then send you to the next class. They get up, they walk around. There's groups of desks, so students get to chat with each other. I like being face to face with people, and that's all that this career is. I love having summers off, so that when my boys get older, we can have summers off together. My dedication is that this is a job that I want to do for the next 20 years. I've spent 3 to 5 years in every career that I've done, but I want a job where every year I grow and become better, and after a while I feel like that master teacher.
Let's meet Mr. Moyes.
I've been here at O. Henry for 10 and a half years, so this is my 11th year teaching at O. Henry. I've always wanted to have a small farm and grow some organic produce and have a few animals and just kind of do more outside work. My favorite part of teaching, I think, would be to see when a student really understands what's being taught and just to see them really engage with what they're learning. The advice I'd give to students is just try your best, because most of these teachers just want to see you put forth your best effort and just to try your hardest. So I wouldn't give up, and I just keep trying.
Thanks for watching.
Make it a great day to be an O. Henry Mustang.